I want to tell you about a secret that haunts the lands between. The Rune of Death was never Marika's gift, it was her trap. Marika's forbidden seal hid a weapon designed to bind, not empower. Not Tarnished, who empower reached for it did not ascend, became pawns in a war they could not comprehend. What truth lies beneath the dust of shattered thrones? The rune's curse did not weaken death, it weaponized it. Marika knew its power would not restore life but unravel it. Why bury such a tool? Because even gods fear what they create. The rune's chains are not forged to bind death, but a thing older than the Elden. Marika shattered the ring to sever the greater will's leash knot, defy it. By freeing this prison, she turned the lands between into a wound. Each Tarnished who bears the rune does not ascend, they become a conduit. A cosmic cycle of corruption was set in motion, not life's renewal. What if the shattering was not rebellion but a reckoning? The rifts bleed, the stars fracture. The rune's true gift is not power, it is the unraveling of all Marika sought to unmake. Marika's shattering sundered the Elden ring, Godwyn's blood fed the Erd tree. The demigods warred for shards, blind to the Rune of Death coiled within. It was no relic of hope. A chain, not a key. Marika carved its sigils to bind, not bless. Each tarnished soul who bore it became a vessel for the unraveling. Her forbidden gift, a leash disguised as destiny. The rune does not heal, it hollows, it hungers. The Erd tree's roots now drink the poison she sequestered. What remains of Marika's design is not her triumph. It is the slow, inevitable collapse of all she sought to preserve. The demigods grasp at power. The Tarnished blade and the rune waits, waiting to unmake the world she could not hold. The Rune of Death is no relic of mercy, it is a scar. A sealed wound in the fabric of existence, pulsing with the breath of something older than Marika's hollow throne. To call it a gift is a lie carved into legend. The demigods did not offer it. They buried it, desperate to forget the hunger it exhaled. What is a soul but a tether? A thread the rune gnaws through, not to save, but to claim. The Tarnished who lift it do not ascend, they become doors. Marika knew this. Her shattering was no triumphantly, the moment she recognized her own chains. The Elden ring, whole or broken, could not hold what the rune contains. They say divinity is eternal. They are wrong, divinity is wrought. Marika, god, queen, and prisoner, forged her curse to bind a force that devours gods. The rune was never meant for mortals, it was a cage, a placeholder. Until a hand, unclean and unworthy, pried it open. The item description whispers of consumption, it does not warn. It begs pardon, for the being trapped beneath layers of rune and sacrifice is not a demon. It is a wound given shape, the reason the Elden ring fractured in the first breath of time. Marika's gift was a key, to you, to me, to whoever dares to mend what should never be mended. The Tarnished blade, the rune waits. And the world holds its breath, not for salvation, but for the unmaking it was always promised. The archives whisper of a blade that bends fate. A weapon etched not in steel, but in the marrow of stars. Beneath layers of forgotten text, a single phrase repeats. Asterisk bound in duality, the rune devours what it grants. Asterisk Marika and Radagon. A single vessel, two warring wills. The truth carves deeper than the Elden ring's fractures. Their union was no divine bond, it was a lock. A prison forged to chain the force that birthed the Rune of Death. This power did not arise from Malenia's rot, it predates the shattering, a current older than the eclipse. The rune is no curse, it is a leish. A shard of the primordial storm that once unmade the Elden ring. Marika's gift was a snare. The Tarnished who take it do not ascend, they become conduits, their veins do not pulse with vitality. They channel a hunger that outlives stars. The archives bury this, the rune's true purpose is not to mend the Elden ring. It is to bind the chaos that shattered it. Radagon's warhammer trembles with this truth. Its strikes do not banish evil, they echo the heartbeat of a captive god. A force too vast to name, too dangerous to release, and still the rune waits. In the hands of the Tarnished, a question lingers. Is the path to redemption or the unmaking of all that remains? The archives hold no answers, only silence. and the weight of a choice no god can make. The demigods bled for fragments of a broken ring. Their war carved the realm into ruins. Yet the true fracture lay not in stone, but in Marika's flesher, shattering a howl against the greater will. What did she unmake when she shattered the Elden ring? Not tyranny, but a prison. The Rune of Death pulses with the same rot that seeped from the ring's wounds. The Tarnished clutch it blind as if it were a key. It is not, it is a scar. A latch. The demigod's shards were mere echoes of the force Marika, bound within her own body, a force too vast to name, too hungry to contain. Her gift was a noose. The rune does not grant power, it starves it. Every wound it heals is a debt paid to the void gnawing at its edges. The Tarnished are not chosen, they are anchors. Marika's rebellion was never against the gods. It was against the thing that wears their faces, that wore hers, that whispers through the shards and the rune alike. The archives tremble with this truth. To wield the rune is to feed the thing that unmade the ring. The demigods' war was a distraction, their victory a dirge, and the Tarnished. They marched toward the same end, their hands wrapped around the teeth of a trap too ancient to remember closing. The rune grants strength, yet its hymns whisper of rot, a paradox. What if the power the Tarnished crave is not theirs to claim? The prison's bars are etched in their bones. Marika's shattering did not free, it folded. A starved god's final gambit, let the broken wear the chains, mistake the key for a trophy. They call it a curse, but curses demand agency. This is a script. Every wound the rune carves is a line in a letter Marika never sent, a plea, a warning, or a last laugh. The Tarnished blade ascend, repeat, their body's a bottleneck for something older than decay. Divinity is no monument. It is a wound that never clots. Marika knew the rune's heart, not a relic but a throat. She could not the void, so she taught others to choke. The contradiction is no flaw. It is the hinge. What if the rune's poison is its purpose, and the Tarnished, not victims, vessels? Marika's ghost whispers through their veins, asterisk break me and break what broke me. Asterisk, but can a cage unmake itself? Or does it only pass the rust along? The cage does not unmake itself, it only passes the rust. The Rune of Death is no relic of salvation, it is a shackle, a hollow husk forged to imprison what even Marika could not slay. That primordial force, the same which gnawed through the Elden ring, now bleeds through the Tarnished who dare to wield it. A gift, no, a reckoning. Marika's blade was not raised to heal, but to harvest. Divinity is a wound, not a light. Marika's faith was a ledger of debts paid in flesh. She called it a gift to mask the debt it demanded. Every Tarnished who clings to the rune's power is but another thread in the loom of the greater will. To break the rune is to break Onselfit's curse, is not containment but consumption. The shattering was no accident. The rune was never meant to be freed. Its rune script is a language of chains, etched by a god who understood her own rot. She could not unmake the force she had bound, so she wove it into the flesh of those who would carry her will. The Tarnished are not heroes, they are the final sigil in Marika's equation. What remains then is not hope. Only the quiet truth, the Rune of Death, is a mirror. In it we see not power, but the price of believing a cage could ever be a cradle. If the rune is a prison, then the Tarnished do not carry hope, they carry a wound. The hunter was never meant to heal the world, only to blight it. Marika's shattering was no sacrifice. It was a severance, a bridge collapsed before it could be crossed. The rune's chains are forged from the same starfire that will shatter the Elden ring again. The hunter walks a path paved by those who came before. Each step echoes a name we no longer dare speak. The Age of Fire was not an ending. It was a rehearsal. To break the cycle is to defy the architects of grief. To embrace it is to become their instrument, what remains when the gift reveals its teeth. The Tarnished are not chosen, they are the echo. A final breath in a tomb whose walls are not yet stone. The rune does not grant power. It teaches the weight of futility. Marika knew the cost of her gift. She buried it beneath a crown of ash. The hunter knows now, and still they walk forward. The cycle is not a shadow, it is the sun. We burn, we fade, we remember. And in the remembering, we become the cage. And if this unsettles you, the next fire in the archive asks, what lies beneath the Erd tree's roots. Twisted tendrils drink the blood of the fallen, their whispers threading through Marika's prison. The rune's glow festers there, a wound sown deep. What truth does the Erd tree choke on, its golden bark split by ancient screams? The archive burns. Will you kneel at its pyre, or let the roots claim you? The Rune of Death hums like a locked cell, a primordial thing caged in gold. Marika's gift was a leash, not a key. She knew what roared beneath the runes. Knew what Tarnished would become, a puppets, not liberators. Why forbid it? Containment was her true ritual. The shattering wasn't defiance. It was a vault. What if the Tarnished are the prison? What if their suffering is the lock? You say they seek the Elden. No, they seek the thing Marika feared most. The rune is not a weapon, it is a hunger made flesh. And we are the meat on the hook, so what does that make you, reader? A jailer, a meal.